Hello and welcome back to Spirit Mom. Today at Spirit School, we're going to be talking about you, your flesh, and God's Spirit wanting to live in that flesh as your soul, as your spirit. We're going to dive a little back into the Bible, but why that is relevant for us today and what's going on right now as we switch over in ages. I think it's obvious that we're becoming a more awake society, whether that's thanks to the internet, which is actually just a manifestation of us moving into fourth, fifth dimensional living and becoming telepathic. It's helping us realistically learn these things faster, to level up in spirituality faster. The world has gone through renaissances and enlightenments before, like even just the original coming of Jesus was an enlightenment period. And then the actual Renaissance was an enlightenment period where the Inquisition and the burning of the witches finally was slowing down so people could wake up. The first library that opened in Rome, or in Italy, I don't know if it was Rome, was in Italy at that time, and all major thinkers were hitting it up and they were learning occult knowledge and esoteric ideas and were actually legally allowed to learn these things. Once upon a time, if you were a mystic, like even a Christian mystic, you were prosecuted and killed if they caught you, or you had to take off and stop doing what you were doing. Like poor Joan of Arc was one of them. She was killed for her beliefs and what she said. Like God told her how to save France and she did that and then was killed for it. Crazy. The church has done some terrible things to stop the actual progression of our souls and this world, because there is a bigger plan, and the plan is for God to get to walk on this earth in us, right? As more than just these two-dimensional meat suits or even three-dimensional meat suits. He needs more dimensions in the meat suits before he can fully be here, which is really just us being here more, our souls being here more. Okay, so we'll start with Romans 8:19. For the creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God, meaning God is waiting eagerly to come in and be a part of us. Now, if you backtrack a little here in 8:5 of Romans, for those who live according to the flesh set their minds on the things of the flesh, but those who live according to the Spirit set their minds on the things of the Spirit. For to set the mind on the flesh is death, but to set the mind on the Spirit is life and peace. Now that has two meanings to it right there. Because when you set your minds on the flesh, on the ego, on this, on what this animal wants, you're just living from one craving to the next. And that's death right now, as that leads to depression, that leads to cutting ourselves off from our soul, that leads to a meaningless existence. We had our times as animals, probably. Like most of our souls would have started, like allegedly we start as just tiny bacteria, like our souls, and then we progress. So we've progressed into this, right? So to go back to the things of the animal is not what our souls want. Our souls became humans to be more physically soul, to not live by the rules of the flesh, but to live by the rules of the Spirit. And they have different wants, different desires. Things like art, music, beauty, love. Even people say having children is things of the flesh. Maybe just the need to produce it. Like if you see like parents that just like have a bunch of kids and they had them and there you go, you produce them. That's flesh. But having them and raising them and just taking full accountability and joy in creating like an eloquent human. You know what I mean? Like to put full care into that person that you're making in full awake awareness. So even if you make mistakes, you're still awake to what you've done. And the whole process is very soulful. Maybe I'm biased, but I really do think our souls do enjoy raising children. And we understand that they're actually just like children of God. Like they're not, I don't own them. They're their own souls. And my DNA might match theirs, but that's their soul. Like there's, maybe they were my cousin or my mom in the last life. Like, so maybe we are intertwined, but I don't own them is the point. You know what I'm saying? They're not my possession, and I didn't make them the real them. So having children can be a very soulful act is my point. We're creator beings. Just being like an architect, an engineer, any kind of creating. And that can go many different ways. Honestly, when I'm just doing my makeup now that I'm back into doing it, I feel creative. It's not because I'm not coming at it from a vain, I need to look good kind of way, but like an artistic kind of way. You just like the things that our souls and our spirits can make and think up is beautiful. And you feel that soul tickle when it's happy. And it's not like oh, I gotta have it kind of ego, animal, feed me way, right? There's a difference. And learning the differences is how to have a more awakened, enjoyable life. Romans 8:22 says, "For we know that the whole creation has been groaning together in the pains of childbirth until now." Basically saying exactly this, that we are a spiritually evolving creation. We are here with the intention of evolving us so we could be more for the soul. For the creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God. The sons of God are us. Doesn't matter boy or girl, we are the vessels for the soul. My point is there's been extra care put into being a human. There is extra attention on humans specifically. We are a long-awaited project for the higher ups. There is a lot involved and invested into us, into what we are. This is why so many great things like Jesus and Thoth and the higher masters have come down to help us evolve. This is why aliens tinkered with our DNA to evolve us faster, because we're needed. And there's lots of theories like we're to save the galaxy and all the different races here on Earth and our fighting with everyone is for us to figure out the whole fight that's going on with the universe. Like we're a petri dish experiment. Who knows what the reason is, but I think it's pretty obvious that there is extra attention on us. Our DNA has been evolved, and there is a purpose, a greater purpose for us humans specifically. And what's happening right now is not the only time we've gone through major updates. Possibly the biggest one, but I wasn't around for the rest of history, and we didn't have such good methods of keeping track of history then, that or they're gone by now. Like today's day and age with the internet and computers, we can really get things going. Like things started to get going when the printing press first started. Like Martin Luther, I'm assuming he was put there on purpose at that time because of the printing press. But could you imagine, Martin Luther is the guy that created like the Protestant religion and basically called the Catholics out on their BS and was like, yo guys, this isn't what the Bible says. Like perhaps read the Bible yourself and you'll see that what the Catholics were saying was not true. They were just taking money from people and they were putting human rules and giving it a label of God, which was not the case. And he brought that to the people's attention thanks to the printing press. Like, so being able to quickly print, or I don't know about quickly, but being able to print a book faster than they used to and get it around to people. So thanks to that, what he had to say came about, and we had the Protestants come about, and then they, later had their own problems, but they stopped the Catholic rule that was dominating over everyone and holding them in oppression, because humans just love to oppress things, right? That's not God's fault though, and that's not Jesus's fault, and that's not even religion's fault. Like, humans like to get very dogmatic because of the ego, which is why I started my entire school off with learning about the shadow first, then the ego, because pretty much all of our issues come from the ego. For to set the mind on the flesh is death, but to set the mind on the spirit is life and peace. It sums it all up right there. So we need to find those things of soul, those things of spirit, to have a life of peace. We need to start living our own life. I preach meditation constantly because we need to meditate on what does our soul want. Like, there's so many people out there that are not even awake to know that there's a problem. Like Russell Brand said it best when he said that he was lucky he was a super drug addict because it woke him up. Because if he hadn't have been a drug addict, he wouldn't have woken up to realize that, oh my God, the whole world is really messed up. And going through that recovery process woke him up. And I'm lucky that I'm part of the newer generation, so I think I'm like a star seed. So right off the bat, I knew there was a problem, but I still remained asleep because I didn't know what to do about it. I wasn't raised with religion. I didn't know anything about, I didn't know like that the answer was that we weren't being true to our soul is the end of that story, right? We weren't being true to our soul. We weren't doing what our soul wanted us to do. Like, we think instead of peacefully and soul and enlightened finding solutions to problems, we just try to stuff it back into a box and put a pill on it, put a label on it, put more rules and bureaucracy. Ever since COVID, which did not blow up like they said it was going to do, but the hospitals are still having huge problems because this huge pandemic came around, and what did the hospitals do? They put down more bureaucracy, like more forms to fill out, more protocol to follow, more red lines, more red tape, more rules, more regulations. Like, that was going to make things better? No. No, that's not how you fix a medical problem, actually. More rules, more like paperwork. Yeah, that's actually not going to fix a disease. Just, maybe actually finding some herbal cures, some actual, like, they say whenever God makes a disease, he made the cure. It's out there. Like, we as man don't need to go, what can I do? I'm the smart one. I'm going to fix this. No, there's solutions out there. You just have to find it. And the answer, like, ayahuasca is a perfect one because a shaman was told to go get one. He was told to get this one plant that was around him and then to go like 100 kilometers away and get another plant, mix them together, and bam, you have one of the most powerful plant magics that are out there today. Like, I haven't done it yet, but apparently it's leaps and bounds above all the rest because they were told. So if we meditate on a problem, we will be told the answer, because when you go into the spirit can go into you. For the creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God, because he wants to come into us. Our soul, he, she, who knows the gender of a soul, it doesn't matter. They want in. It's our soul. It wants in. So we can be spiritual right now. Like, maybe they're tired of floating around. I don't know. They want to touch things. They want to feel things. They do want to experience this life, but they can't do it if we're just living from the flesh, because then we're cutting them out of it. We need to learn to do both. So do the things of the flesh, yum. Yummy, yummy, yummy. That was delicious water. They appreciated it. Thank you, water. We've talked about that before. Thank you, water. But I'm doing it from an open, awake place. Not coming home from work with a bottle of wine because I had a really bad day and I'm just going to down it and I'm going to ignore everything, put on Dancing with the Stars and zone right out from life. No, they don't want to do that. That's not fun. And we will be happier and we will be less depressed and we will be more awake to grow and be bigger spiritually and better. Our self-abundance will flow. Manifestations will manifest. Life will get better. So people, stop living from the flesh. Start living from the spirit. I know you can do it. I believe in you. Goodbye for now, Spirit Mom.